And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Saturday Morning New Distributor Training. My name is Fred Holmes. I'm an independent distributor with ZJ International. How can you tell? I got my work shirt on. Uh, I'm an independent distributor with ZJ International. It's my privilege to be the trainer this morning. I've got a lot of things we're going to be going over. And welcome to all of you. We've got people calling in from, logging in from Europe. Sorelia, good morning. Anthea, good morning. Geez, I'm having a hard time keeping up with everybody that's saying good morning. Let's see here. Mary, good morning. I'm going to miss some of you. I'm saying good morning to all of you that have been so kind as to say good morning to me in the chat box. Let's do a couple of quick program notes, and then I want to get into our topics for today. This is day one of period 137. This is the first Saturday of the ZJ period calendar, and as is our custom, we will be with Saturday Morning New Distributor Training today. We'll take a little break, and then right at the top of the next hour, which is 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and you'll have to do the translation of whatever time zone you're in. We will come back right here to do our first Saturday of the period team meeting. This is where we have an opportunity to go through the announcements that took place. Some of you are aware that ZJ has a diamond club. I think that's probably about maybe the top 40 distributorships in the company. We meet with the corporate team on the first Saturday of the period where we get updated. They do that periodically throughout the period, but specifically this Saturday, the first Saturday, we get a lot of announcements. I've got a couple of pages of notes from this morning's meeting. You're going to want to, you can do one of two things. You can either shut down when we close out our Saturday morning training here a little before the top of the hour, once we're through with question and answer. You can stay logged in, whatever you want. It's the same link. It's the same link as always, every single broadcast that we do. But I encourage you to, I will take a little break. We'll come back right at 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll be going through that. I'm going to have a couple of the other members from the Diamond Club join me so they can give their input. So we got that program note. Let's see, what else did I need to make sure we got? Let me do this. First of all, welcome to all of you. This is an exciting time in ZJ International. We do this Saturday morning new distributor training broadcast every single Saturday morning. Now, it's not always me. I do a lot of them. We have different members from our team that also participate in new distributor training on Saturday morning. So you'll have a variety of voices. For those of you that are brand new to ZJ, let me extend a very warm welcome to you because this time is for you. This is what the focus of this broadcast is our new distributors. Now, the title, we call it New Distributor Training. I want to be clear on this. This is not the same thing every single Saturday. There is a, forgive the air quotes, a new distributor training. And I'm going to give you a link to that. Some time ago, and probably we're getting on towards a year and a half ago, whatever, I put together a series of little videos that collectively are entitled New Distributor Training. I'm going to give you the link right now. Let's see if I can get that up here. If you look on your screen, if you're on your cell phone, if you simply tap the screen, it'll bring up the little information boxes. You'll see a little chat window there. Let's see if I can copy this. Here we go. Hang on a second. Copy, paste. This is the link to the training videos I suggested. Now, I'm not trying to say this is, the end all. This is simply information that I've put together in a video format that is information that was shared with me many years ago. Some of you may not be familiar with my story. Back in the mid-'80s, I was a cross-country truck driver. I love driving trucks. It's the, I thrived in that environment. But I hit a point in my life where the income I made from a truck driver and the lifestyle was not meeting the needs of my young family. And I did well as a truck driver, what I thought was well. I made a good living. But my older boy hit school age, had a lot of, educational challenges. And I was faced with a time in my life where I needed to be able to provide the financial resources to create an environment where he could get the educational resources he needed, to have the time freedom to be with him. And the only vehicle I was able to find that would give a guy like me a significant income and a flexible schedule was the profession of network marketing. And I was very fortunate that very first company that I joined back in the mid 80s, my sponsor was already a $1 million earner. And I had the opportunity to learn how to do this type of distribution model, this business model, as a professional. And the company I was with has historically been known as providing some of the finest training that's ever existed in the network marketing profession. And so if you follow that link that I just put into the chat box, you can, literally click the link if you want. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. On that channel, we archive all of the new distributor trainings, Saturday morning trainings we do, the Thursday night biz talks, business presentations we do. And then there is a playlist tab, which I left that link for. And you will find in the playlist tab 4 videos. Now, those 4 videos, the first one is called New Distributor Training. What it is a compilation, adjusted for Zija, of what I experienced every single Saturday morning for the first 2 years of my career in network marketing. I was exposed to this over and over and over again. It is the foundational elements of success in our profession. It's what we do and how we do it. And I really encourage you to take the opportunity to listen to that video. But more importantly, hear what I just said. This is something that I listen to every single Saturday morning. The Saturday morning training with that company was the same thing every Saturday morning. And, and I love this phrase, success leaves clues. If this is something that I was exposed to every single Saturday morning for 2 years, I will tell you that in that first 10 years that I was involved in network marketing in the mid 80s and 90s, I was able to create an income that would have taken probably 2 lifetimes as a truck driver to earn, but I compressed, 80, 90 years of truck driving income into 10 years. And so hopefully that's an incentive for you not just to hear the training, watch the training video, but understand that this is one of the reasons for that is I was exposed to that every single Saturday morning for 2 years. That was the standard method of operation for that company. And so that might be a clue. Now, in addition to that, you'll see 3 additional other videos, little 10-minute videos, or about 10 minutes apiece. And those 3 videos, collectively would be called the Fast Start Training. How to create a prospect list, how to develop your Zija story, a 90-day game plan. And so if you were to compile all that together, it's about 60 minutes that I encourage you to get exposed to. That's what we would call new distributor training. So if you're brand new, this is your first opportunity to be part of this Saturday morning broadcast. Understand that what you may have come here to learn is actually already archived in that link that I just left in the chat box. Go to Fred Holmes or www.youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija /playlists. And you'll see all the other videos there. Now, we use Saturday morning as a way to, dig down deeper into specific topics. I like to bring something relevant to today in Zija, what's happening, this week, this period. I like to use this as an opportunity to do some question and answers as well, a question and answer session. If you have questions, please put them into the chat box. You'll see the chat box there. There is a bad internet connection. I can't hear anything. Anna, I don't know what to tell you. However, Anna's saying she can't hear anything, and so you're not going to hear me say this, Anna. But this video will be archived on the on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. It'll be up there a little bit later on this afternoon, so you'll be able to hear it again. And if you would, just make sure that it's not my end of the internet. Let's see, I hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Sharita. That's exactly what I was going to ask for. Just a little aside, we're having incredible weather here in Southern California. And I know we've had the deep freeze in lots of the country and that sort of thing. But we've had an incredible winter here in Southern California. I was just doing a little checking. We've had more rain. As a matter of fact, we're right now about equal to the last 3 years of rain combined in California. We're, in normal rain in California, we're just over halfway through our rain year. Normal rain in my part of California is about 14 to 15 inches a year, which technically makes us a desert. We're now over 150% of normal. Last year, at this time, we had just over 1 inch of rain for half of the season of the year. We're now well over 10 inches, 12 inches of rain. And so we're coming up on, in about half a year, what our normal rainfall is. And we haven't seen that in years, in absolute years. So all my flowers are excited. They're getting water. They're growing. But I was a little concerned that maybe the weather is messing up my internet. My internet seems to be working okay. Hey, Michael, good morning to you too as well. All right, now, this morning, this is kind of interesting, okay? We are starting the second full period in the calendar year of 2019. In the Zija calendar, which is 4 weeks, is our period. There's actually 13, Zija months in a year. We've already gone through one. We're now starting our second one. And this is extremely important because we're very early on in the year, and you have, whether you're a brand new distributor, whether you're, one of our field leaders, been around for quite some time, you're doing very well, whether you're have been here for a long time using our products, looking at Zija, and now recognizing what is about to happen with Zija in terms of the growth curve, and you're ready to get engaged, get active with your business. This is an incredibly unique time because you have enough time starting this early in the year to make a tremendous impact on your 2019. And I'm not sharing this with you from a perspective of, something I'm hoping is going to happen, something I believe is going to happen. Folks, one of the advantages of being an old guy, and I am an old guy, is that I've been around this profession a long, long, long time. I've seen lots and lots of companies over the years. There is a unique time in a legacy company in the making. And here I'm talking about an incredibly small percentage of network marketing companies that have ever existed. If you look at the profession as a whole, going back, we're over 70 years, this has been a profession. You go back to the 60s and 50s with companies like, Amway, Holiday Magic, Nutravita, the origin companies, the founding companies. And you look at all the companies that have come and gone over that, 7+ decades, literally tens of thousands of companies have come and gone. And over that period of time, there's maybe a couple of dozen companies that have stood the test of time. We call them legacy companies. Companies that today have been in business 20 years or longer, have done, billions in sales, continue to thrive today. there's only a very, 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 an infinitesimally small percentage of companies that have been able to stand the test of time. And the owner of Zija, Ken Brailsford, is the only man in network marketing history that's been able to create two of those companies. And some of you know this story. He was the co-founder of Nature's Sunshine in the 70s, now in business well over 40, going on 45 years. Billions in sales. He was the founder of Enrich International in the 80s, now continues under the name of Unicity. Again, 30 plus years in business, billions of dollars in sales. Combined, those two companies do over $1 billion a year in sales today. Zija International is the next $1 billion a year legacy company in the making. Now, of those companies, and here we're talking about a couple of dozen, 25, maybe 30 companies fall into that category of legacy companies, long-term companies. There's only, I believe, about 12 or 13 companies of that group that have ever gone to $1 billion a year in sales or more. Now, when you look at the successful companies, here's kind of the stages they go through. You've got the initial stage of development, and the early adopters, the people that get involved in the very earliest stages of, and let's just talk about that maybe dozen companies that have been $1 billion a year company now. Very few of the people that get started in the early days, that formulation stage of a company, survive, because it's very difficult. Okay, it's companies start out, they have very little infrastructure, limited product offerings, they got a lot of development that needs to be done. If you think about it, an infant, okay, that first year or 2 or 3 of maturation are critical, and that's where the child's the most vulnerable to all kinds of things. And the early adopters, very, very few of them manage to make it through that first few years. And then once you get a little bit of infrastructure, you get a little bit of momentum, you get a little bit of traction, you go through that initial first growth curve. And I had the good fortune of joining Zija. They were in business about 2.5 years before I joined. And it took about 5 years to go through that maturation process to where Zija was able to kind of stand on its own, right? The toddler learning how to walk, if you want to continue that analogy. And I was very fortunate because during that formulation stage, that's very difficult for people to survive in, I did have an advantage. I'd already done this before. I understood what to do. I had realistic expectations, and I built a very significant organization during that stage where it was really hard to do. But once we got into that first little mini wave, we went from, $10 million a year in sales to $50 million a year in sales. We did it in a relatively short period of time, and it was an incredible financial boon, to myself and a number of other people that were able to stand the test of time during that developmental stage of the company. Once you go through that first initial stage, and you look at the major companies out there, they'll all mirror this, within a couple of years, one way or the other of the timeline. The Amways, New Skins, Mary Kay's, I just lost the other company I was going to talk about. But the Herbalife's, Shackley is a good example. They all did this. Every single one of them experienced this. First several years, very difficult to get traction. Once you got a little traction, that first mini growth curve, typically from, $1 million, a month in business to $1 million a week in business. That's incredible growth. And then you have, after that exponential growth curve, you have kind of a tapering off, a stabilization. Zija grew to $100 million a year over the next several years. Then what happens for those companies that have the capacity, both in the terms of the corporate leadership and the field leadership, to be able to go beyond that level of growth? 100 million a year sounds like a lot of volume. In network marketing, that's, barely a recognizable dot on the radar. For the companies that the people Here again, corporate team, field leadership, for the people that have the capacity to grow beyond that, to go from adolescence to adulthood to maturity. There is a point in time where everything comes together, and if they have the right things in place, they can go from 100 million a year to 500 million a year. And that run is typically done in a 3 to 5 year time span. Very few companies ever get there. Even fewer, smaller percentage of companies are able to make that run into maturity. But if you get there, the people that join during that time frame have two advantages. Number one, and now I'm talking about Zija today, right now as we speak, 2019. The two advantages are, number one, you have the benefit of getting in after the difficult times of development, the infancy, the toddler age, the childhood. The maturation process is developing, corporate maturity, field leadership maturity, the infrastructure, manufacturing, distribution, complant developments, all these things. And Zija's been able to do this all in literally about 12, 13 years to get to a point in time where today we are not only well into that development, we have actually we're almost like a savant in that we have today as we speak the capacity from an infrastructure side to produce close to $2 billion a year in sales. There's only a couple handfuls of companies that can do that at all, and we're already there, even though we're a small percentage of that growth right now. The first advantage is making that decision, whether you're just getting in today or whether you're focusing now on creating a significant business in Zija. The advantage is that you have been able to launch at a point in time where all the pieces have finally come together. Here's the second advantage. You are in before the masses. This is incredibly important to understand. My career in network marketing, the first 2 years were with that first company that I mentioned. Great company, worst timing in the world with that company. After 2 years, I transitioned into another company, not the best company, not the greatest products, but incredible timing. And I grew with that company from, $1 million a month in business that company was doing to $1 million a day in business. I got in before the masses and I rode with the wave and I made an absolute fortune. When I left that company, it wasn't because the company, because I was done with the industry. I love this industry. The company had several, failings that Zija is immune to, okay? And they all revolve around the character of the leadership, okay? Character of the corporate leadership, character of the field leadership. And when you look at Zija today, the failures of that previous company, we are immune to those failures because of the character of our corporate leadership. Ken Brailsford, Ryan Palmer, Jerem Dastrup, and we are immune to those failures because of the character of the field leadership, the top income earning distributors in this company, because we are all so committed to creating this company as the vehicle for literally hundreds and thousands of people to be able to achieve true financial success and independence. And when you put those things together in this timing, you will sense how important it is to be about the business of doing business today, because you have the next 11 months to put together the foundation of your Zija business. My first year in Zija, that's what I did. I put together the foundation of my team. The second year, I focused on the development of the organization in depth. And the third year, I focused on the development of leadership within that organization. And quite frankly, folks, 36 months is what I took working part-time from home to own my life. And the last, 7, 8 years have been absolutely incredible from from the freedom, from, concern about time, concern about money, and so on. And I want to take a couple of minutes right now and give you one of the biggest tips you'll ever have for your 2019. In the 3rd and 4th week of March, and some of you may give me those dates in the chat box because I'm on my calendar in front of me. Oh, maybe I can get it from here. On the, let's see here, February, on March 16th in Plano, Texas. And on March 16th, Saturday, March 16th in Plano, Texas, Zija will be having one of the 2 major events for the entire year. It'll be our Dallas, Texas, Plano, Texas regional event. 1 week later, on March 23rd, we will have the 2nd regional event in Cincinnati. These will be the 2 major events for the Zija calendar of 2019. We will be making the formal introduction, formal launch, company-wide, of our latest product, our CBD oil patch. Okay, now this is not the focus today. There's a lot of information out there. I encourage you to go to Pat Anderson's website, clubmoringa.com, www.clubmoringa.com. She has compiled, she's actually on the 3rd of a 4-part series on the CBD oils, our patch, how it's going to literally revolutionize an incredible industry that is been stated that it will grow from, literally nothing today to a $20 billion a year industry in 2 years. By next year, it will be over $20 billion a year industry, 20 billion with a B. This is something that is going to absolutely accelerate any possible thought of growth that we had with Zija. And we had some pretty big ideas of what Zija was going to do over the next couple of years. That is being eclipsed with the introduction of this new product. Those 2 events can 100% make all the difference in your business in Zija for 2019. 2019 can literally create 50% of the momentum for what your business will be over the next 5 years. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care who you are, if you get plugged in, you commit to a daily method of operation, you commit to time doing correct activities, over the next 3 to 5 years, you can set yourself up for the rest of your life. I did that, 11 years ago. I spent 3 years, and Zija set me up for the rest of my life. And that was a really small piece of what you folks have over the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm trying to illustrate how important it is to be at one of those regional events. Okay, be at the regional event. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the purpose of being at the event. Okay, you will be first at a historical event in the Zija account, in the Zija, history of Zija. I've had the good opportunity, the fortunate opportunity to be part of many of Zija's historical events. I will actually be at both regionals. For those of you that are attending those regionals, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Please, 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 please do me the kindness of tracking me down and introducing yourself, okay? It would be my great privilege to have a chance to meet you and visit with you, but there's gonna be lots of people there, and I'm never gonna be able to find everybody, so please do me the kindness of tracking me down, find me, okay? Just look for that tall, good-looking guy, right? I'll be easy to spot, the tall, good-looking guy, don't forget that. Anyway, the reason, there's multiple reasons to be at these events. One of the primary purposes to be at the event is not the information, although you will get incredible information. Dr. Scott Johnson will be there. Dr. Joshua Plant will be there. They're going to be doing in-depth training on all of our products, specifically the new flagship product that's going to lead us to that $500 million a year in sales over the next 3 to 5 years. You're going to get tremendous training from field leadership. Many of the top income earners will be there talking specifically. There'll be specific training sessions on how to promote the product, how to promote the opportunity, how to put yourself in a position to create that financial security, that financial prosperity that so many people come to Zija for. You're going to get a tremendous amount of value from that event. You're going to be able to be the first people to order the new product because you're at the event. The company's made it very clear. The ability to create sufficient inventory. There's only so much that one can do. The people that are at that event will get first come, first served ordering preferences. It may be a couple of weeks following that event before the people that don't attend will be able to get there. I have other announcements about ordering the product. Stay tuned at the top of the hour for the team meeting. We'll get into that. So, your own information, your own ability to be able to order that product, training information, first in line to order the product. Those are all the tangible values, the tangible benefits of being at that event. But let me share with you, that is insignificant. The value that I just shared with you, which is a big deal, is insignificant compared to the intangible receipts of being at one of those events. It's the intangible components of our business that are the most important. And it took a little while for me to figure this out. Back in the day, 30, whatever it is, plus years ago, when I left truck driving, okay? Our business model from a tangible perspective, logistical perspective, makes a lot of sense. How you create these large self-duplicating distribution organizations falls into an area of very intangible things because it involves people. All right, this is a people business. I'll give you an example. I've talked about this before. When you invite people to look at our business, that's step one, the invitation. The second step, and this is in your Saturday morning new distributor training on the playlist. Second step is to provide information, using tools. Most people don't recognize that it is not the information that causes people to join, whether it's to use our products or to join our business. Everybody thinks it is the information. But folks, that is secondary to the real reason people join. People join our type of business, or they choose to use our products based on very intangible emotional components. This is why it's critical that when you're building your Zija business, you do it with the power of utilizing, one of your upline support team members. It is the intangible things that cause people to make an emotional decision to join the business or to use the product as a customer. And once they've made that emotional decision to get involved, then the facts that we think are important, it's those facts, the information, if you will, that reinforces a decision your prospect is already predisposed to make. See, be real clear about this. People don't join the business, they join us. People don't get involved as a distributor to be able to create an income based upon the facts. That we have a hybrid binary compensation plan. It's a 50-50 match binary, non-flushing, you know, the GQ bonus, the customer retention. None of those numbers make any difference whatsoever until your prospect has gone through this mental process. Because of meeting the people, hearing the stories, the mental process is, well, this looks pretty simple. They just share the product, share the opportunity, teach others to do the same. It looks pretty simple. It looks like it'll work. You know, it kind of makes sense. And I think I can do it. And if your prospect gets the exposure that allows them to go through that mental process, this looks simple, it looks like it'll work, and I think I can do it. Once they've gone through that process, they've already made an emotional, almost subconscious decision to join. And once they've done that, then the facts simply reinforce this decision they're already predisposed to make. And the greatest exposure that you can give your prospect or your brand new distributor to get them to commit to higher levels of effort and success is at one of these major events. The event, the regional, the convention, the New Year, New You event that, might have been in your area or one coming up to you. The events create that platform where the prospect, new distributor, customer looks and says, I see all these people. I like being involved with excited, motivated, positive, uplifting, supportive people. Because if you think about it, in the real world, the people you're exposed to are none of that. Okay? They are none of that. In our environment, we are with a family that cares about us, supports us, encourages us, lifts us up, thinks highly of us. People are drawn to that. At the events, they get exposure to the people that are involved in Zija. See, it really makes no difference what one does so long as one believes that they can be successful. One of the greatest advantages I had 30 plus years ago is my sponsor was already $1 million earner. Now, I knew I wasn't as good as he was because he'd been doing it for years, but what I also recognized is there really wasn't a lot different between him when he started and me when I started. That belief system is what causes people to move forward. If it was just as simple as reading the book on how to do network marketing, learning the comp plan, then everybody be $1 million earner. The purpose of the events is to deeply solidify in the subconscious of your new distributor their capacity for greatness. I'll give you an example. My very first company, okay, I had to, I literally had to beg, borrow, well, I didn't steal, but beg, borrow, steal the money to get involved. It was an incredibly huge commitment for me to get involved with that company. What we considered to be the Builder Premium System, the biggest package you can get, $1,300 with Zija, was $4,000 with that company. That was a lot of money to me, but I managed to pull that off. And within a few weeks, my sponsor said, Fred, the big convention's coming up in Chicago. You got to be there. And I said, dude, I can't afford to go. My credit cards are maxed out. And he just looked at me and says, Fred, you can't, if you're serious, that was the key. If you're serious, you cannot afford not to be there. And he turned around and walked away. It was kind of like, done. And I mean, I was amazed. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Now, because I was incredibly coachable, my sponsor said you need to be there. I was incredibly coachable. I was going to do whatever it took to create success. I went ahead and I got there. I got the red-eye flight, the cheapest ticket I could get. My sponsor said, you know, if I showed up, he would, you know, let me sleep in the floor on the floor of his hotel room. He did help me that way. Said be hanging around with him at dinner time. He'd make sure I got fed, and then I was using the company's nutritional products for breakfast and lunch, right? And I mean, I literally showed up in town with enough money for, you know, a cup of coffee, right? Now, I can tell you without one single bit of hesitation, had I not attended that very first event and had exposure to what the real business was, to the information, the training, but more importantly, the exposure to the people, develop the belief system that I could actually do this, that a guy like me, not just pipe dream, but I could really do this because of the people that I met. and getting the, you know, the feeling of the tangibility, the reality of the corporate team, the science behind the product, so on and so forth. Had I not attended that event, and this goes back to, I believe it was April of 1986 or maybe 85. Had I not attended that event, I would probably not be in network marketing today. Had I not attended that very first event, and it wasn't even with the company that I made the big money in, had I not attended that event, I genuinely believe I would not be in network marketing today, because that first 2 years with that company was very tough. It was the wrong timing with that company. I just thought that's how hard network marketing was. Now, what I'm sharing with you is the importance of being at that event. It should be your number one priority if you are committed to creating success in your Zija business. You need to be there, no matter what. You need to be there. It is not good enough for you. If you want to be in the top 10%, you can't do what the 90%ers do. You got to do what the 10%ers do, and you need to be there. There's a very short window of opportunity to be part of this important historic time in Zija. The very short window of opportunity, and this is what I can guarantee you. You have dramatically leveraged all of the advantages if you simply do the things that the top 10%ers are doing, such as be at the event. Number two, bring people with you. Give you an example of that. When I joined Zija, remember, I'd already done this before. I'd already retired several years before Zija from the industry. I already knew what to do. The first big event we had in Zija, this was October of 2008 was my first big convention. I brought 6 people with me to that convention. Of those 6 people that came with me to that convention, 5 of those people are today diamond ranked or above. One of them's a gold. Of those 5 people that are diamond ranked or above, now first of all, I want you to think about the ratio of success. 6 people came with me to that convention, 5 are diamond ranked or above. What are the possibilities that you could bring people to one of these events and they would rise up the ranking in Zija? I'd say pretty good based on my ratios. Of those 5 people that are diamond ranked or above, one of those people is a top 10 earner in Zija today, Diamond Elite Pat Anderson. And hands down, no question about it, Pat has the fastest growing organization in Zija. So I can't guarantee you that every person you bring to one of these events in March is going to become part of your core team of leaderships. I can guarantee you it is the best opportunity that you have to give the level of exposure to your team members that is necessary to be able to have top leadership as part of your organization. Now, promoting that event, if you've never been to one of these events yourself, you cannot promote the value of the event. Even if you have been to one of these events, you may not have the level of story that, you know, somebody like myself, Pat Anderson, somebody else has to promote this event to your prospects. Do yourself a favor. Identify the people on your team that need to be at these events, and then elicit the support of one of your upline field leaders to help you promote that event. It's just one of those things. You need to have the correct voice for the person. And I'll give you a kind of a silly illustration. Some of you know one of the things I did during that, you know, decade between the last multi-level company and Zija. You know, I got an opportunity. I'd retired. I was able to work if I wanted to, not if I didn't. Got to be a stay-at-home grandpa for several years. I raised my son and my grandson. My son was a very, very young father, very young single father, early on. My grandson needed a parent, and my son needed time to become one. And my grandbaby, he figured out the pecking order real quick. He could get away with a lot of crap. He could get away with a lot of stuff with his dad because his dad get frustrated, wouldn't know what to do. But it took the papa look, the grandpa look. I gave him the grandpa look. Grandbaby snapped right into place because he knew the deal. You know, daddy tells him what to do, and he can get away with a lot of stuff. Grandpa, not only does grandpa tell grandbaby what to do, grandpa can tell daddy what to do. But when he first got to spend time with my mom, that's when grandbaby had a whole different perspective, because Gigi, great grandma, could tell papa what to do. So you just got to get the right voice to express how important this is. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to log off now. I apologize, I've gone a little bit over my allotted time. I'm hoping this is helping you. Let me see real quick here. Dr. Pat Anderson. Thank you, Sorelia, for giving me those dates. Okay, I think we're good here. All right, folks, here's what we're going to do. All right, and I do hope this has helped a little bit establish the sense of urgency to get yourself registered for these events. Be there, but more importantly, bring your team with you. Make sure that you impress upon them how important this is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause here for a minute. You can just stay logged in and come back in 10 minutes. We're going to launch the beginning of the period team meeting. I'm going to go through the Diamond Club announcements. I'm going to talk a little bit about promotion and a game plan for the next 28 days of this period. You can, if you have to shut down, come back, use the same link. It'll be going here. But I'm going to pause because I got to take a break. Got to check in on mom. And I will be back with you in 9 minutes. All right. So stay tuned. We'll be back. We're going to go through all that information. Appreciate all of you joining us this morning. And I'll see you here in 8 minutes. All right. Take care.